You must be careful about the words you use, or the words you allow to be used in your house. Words are things. You must be careful. Careful about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that.
It's time to talk about it.
Pull up a chair and take a seat.
We're serving up recipes for life.
With Hampton University's Dr. Richard Mason and Dr. Tamara Williams.
Welcome to the Sunday Brunch.
This is Dr. Tamara Williams.
And this is Dr. Richard Mason, and welcome back to another edition at the table, Sunday Brunch with the Good Doctors. How is everybody doing out there?
It's been great this week. You know, a busy week, but it's a new year and just excited to take in all the things that are happening this week.
Listen, I'm going to tell you, you're going to blink tomorrow and it's going to be July 31st.
I am convinced. Listen, I just need to get to May. You know, May is graduation, and so that is just a beautiful time. It's one of the most amazing times of the year on campus, and
yes,
so I'm excited.
Yes.
You know, I'm always pushing towards each May.
Exactly. You know, the culmination of students completing those degrees and all. And so as professor, it's always great to see your students. They're happy and excited. Their parents are in town. You know, you got your thank you, Lord is, and the mamas out here shouting on Mother's Day.
It's the best gift they say that you can give to a mother is that completed degree is paid for at that point. They're crossing the stage. And I love seeing the students even come back.
Yes.
And share some of the things that they've done since graduation. And then they have their cousins, they're like, Dr. Williams, you remember me? I do. I do. So I should say we love. We love talking about education.
Yes.
We love.
Yes.
We
because
do.
we know education is the great equalizer.
Hello, somebody.
Because once you know something, they can't take it away from you.
They cannot take that from you. When you know what you know, they can't tell you any different.
Not at all.
1 + 1 is always going to be 2.
Yes.
You cannot convince me otherwise because I know it.
Exactly.
I know it. I'm excited about the conversation that we're going to have today because it goes right along with education. It goes right along with education. And you and I know that, you do a very great job, the best job that you can supporting the teachers that you lead. And you try your best to make sure their salaries are competitive and better than everybody else's. But we do know that in education, teachers struggle. That is one of the professions that people often don't, it's a thankless profession. You work long hours well beyond just the regular hours other people do. And you care about these kids. At least you should if you're in this profession, right?
Exactly.
So we definitely want to have a conversation today with someone who just won like the 7 Cities Best Teacher Award. I know, right? Right here in our own, right here in our own neighborhood, right here in our
7
own
cities.
I know.
7 cities.
Do you know how many people teach in the 7 cities? And I know there's a lot of great educators out there, but I wanted to make sure that we took the time to talk about just great tips in education. How did she get into education? What makes her the best of the best of the best?
Exactly. Because I always tell people, when you look at educators, you can talk about great doctors, great lawyers, you name it, astronauts, whatever. But guess what? It all started with a teacher.
It did. Someone taught them something.
Exactly. So you can't get away from education without giving them thanks and thinking back. I've truly been blessed to have had some great educators over the years and to be able to remember the good ones, and here, thanks to social media, being able to tap into them, and they're tracking, some of the things that I'm doing in my role as an educator and in my life, and getting the messages from them, because of course, the funny thing was I was that kid who was just busy and had a lot of questions. I asked a lot of things. I talked, that whole I must not talk. Do kids still write that? I must not talk. 100 times too.
I'm sure they must have figured out it didn't work.
Never mind. Maybe listen.
I'm quite sure they figured out that it doesn't work anymore.
It didn't work, and I always sit back and laugh and say, you know what? Y'all just tell me to stop talking. I'm being paid to talk to people now.
You understand me? It's all about the gift. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I hope that we get to have that conversation today about, everybody should not be jumping into education, even though there are many jobs open in education. It's not for everybody.
And that's
the
true.
characteristics are not for everybody.
That's very true.
There's a lot of jobs out there that people probably shouldn't occupy. Someone told them they would do good in that job, but that does not make it so. So
Right.
I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited to know what makes a great teacher.
Exactly.
She's gonna probably try to pretend to be shy about it, but you can't.
no.
You cannot.
We are not shy at this
You cannot
table.
negate the fact that you earned the award, and there's a lot of people out there who will recommend it. So
Exactly. Well, I'm going to the buffet. I'm going to the buffet, but I'm coming back.
by the time you come back, I would have introduced our guests, and I just have a simple request.
Honey butter and a little biscuit.
That's all I need in my life.
And I'm gonna bring a little piece of bacon because I see them bringing on out the new pan of bacon over there. So
Not just a little piece. Can I get it?
no, you
Two
don't
or
need but a
three
little
pieces.
piece.
Three is my favorite number.
It's a new year. I got you. I give you three
Thank you.
pieces.
Three. I can handle three. That's all I need. But I want to take the time to welcome for the first time, and most likely not going to be the last time, I know, a guest to Sunday Brunch, Miss Stephanie Sadler, Seven Cities' best teacher. Oh,
Welcome to the table.
Welcome to the table.
Thank you for having me at the table.
Our community owned. I believe you were raised here. Am I wrong? Am I right?
I was raised in Hampton.
Were you born in Hampton?
I was not.
I didn't think so, but you were raised in
I was
Hampton.
raised in Hampton.
Okay.
We moved to Hampton when I was 4 years old.
Oh, that's
Okay.
pretty much born in Hampton.
This home.
It is.
Military family.
Military. My father was in the Army.
Okay, so let me find out you were born in Germany somewhere.
No, I was born in Panama.
Okay, see?
Close enough.
I was born in Panama. And we ended up coming here because my godparents actually lived here. So we moved
Okay.
here. And my dad ended up getting out the Army. And we made Virginia home.
Awesome.
Hampton.
Yes.
Okay, so after that, because what some people may know, but many may not know, is you're not just in education. You also were in the Army and the Reserve. You currently are also in the Army Reserve. So you have to give us how did Stephanie one day decide that she was going to be in the Army too? Or did you decide you were going to be education and Army? How did this come about?
No. In high school, I went to Hampton High School.
Okay.
I am a
Can't
crabber.
crush a crab.
Yeah.
Can't crush a crab. All right.
Was in ROTC in high school.
Okay.
My oldest brother was in ROTC in high school as well as in college. So I knew I wanted to go to college, and I knew my parents didn't have money to go. He went National Guard, and I said, well, I don't want to do National Guard. I want to do reserves because I want to be able to travel. So I joined the reserves before I even graduated. I was 17. I had to have my parents sign for me. And they were like, you want to go? And I was like, yeah. So it was April of my senior year, and they signed for me to go because I didn't turn 18 until September.
Okay.
So I left in June, went to basic training in Fort Jackson. I did split option. Be honest with you, when I signed up to be in the reserves, I signed up to be a chaplain assistant. I just wanted to go. So that was the only job they had for me, so I did that.
You were a chaplain assistant.
A chaplain assistant.
I know people were praying
All
to Jesus.
right.
I know they were out there.
I signed up as a chaplain assistant. Came home, did split options. So I just did basic training, came home, did my first year at Virginia State. Was in ROTC. Virginia State was MS1, what they call military science first year of the year. And decided I didn't like the campus life. I didn't like my roommate. I just had a bad experience. I mean, I just spent the whole summer with 50, 100 women and just to live in this dorm room. I didn't like that experience. So I came home. I transferred to Norfolk State, which I refused to go to because, of course, my brother went to Norfolk State. So I didn't want to go to Norfolk. But I came to Norfolk State.
What's that big state, little state thing, right?
Right.
Okay, all right. I ain't starting no fights with nobody out there.
No. But, I mean, I still... And the thing about it, I was the one who got all my other friends to go to Virginia State, and I left them.
Oh, wow. He's like, this is for you, but this is not for me.
So I went home and just did my thing at Norfolk State. I didn't I did do ROTC. I did 3 years of ROTC. It didn't commission. Decided, you know what, this maybe commission is not for me. But I did stay in the reserves the entire time. I graduated from Norfolk State, and I always had a dream to work for corporate America. Of course, I was a business major, management, computer information systems. I did some work with the telephone company at that time, and then got deployed. Came back home after I had deployed to Germany. That was my first deployment.
Wait a minute, in the reserves?
In the reserves. I went to Germany.
How long were they trying to deploy you in the reserves?
I was gone I left in June and came back in March.
Okay.
So
That's significant.
Yeah. And I spent my I'm about to tell my age, but my 25th birthday in Germany. I celebrated and with skydiving. Actually, I'm gonna tell you, I'll really date myself. The day I went skydiving is the same day that Princess Diana had her accident in a tunnel. So I was overseas during that time. So then came back home. The company that I was working for had downsized. I tried other positions. Said, no, this is not for me. And started teaching. My dad, who was in between, he was getting some services for disability, and I started teaching for the Goodwill, teaching adults computer skills. Because, matter of fact, one of the ladies that goes to my church now, she was one of my students. It was funny because she was like, I know you. Yeah. So I was, I'm teaching adults how to use a computer because they were factory workers.
Right.
So they were transitioning. So did that, few other little jobs here and there. And my dad was like, okay, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You have a degree. So I started substitute teaching. And I was adamant about substituting in Hampton. And I did that for many months. Even went back to my alma mater and became like school-based sub, and I was like, okay, I can do this. But I'm gonna tell you the decision when it came to me that I needed to teach. I was at an elementary school, and I think it was like maybe April time frame. It was like a 3rd grade class, and all the little children, they were brown like me, and I could tell that their teacher didn't look like us, because I'm asking them little simple math questions. Like we're saying 1 + 1 or 1 times when they're looking at me like, what are you talking about, lady? And I said, I need to teach. Because I was adamant I wanted to teach math.
Okay.
And
that's a bless your heart, man. Bless your heart.
I did want to teach math. And I received confirmation that I needed to teach. I was still subbing all over. But I received confirmation that I needed to teach. One day I was driving home from work, and I just happened to turn on Norfolk State's radio station, and they were offering a teacher recruitment grant where they were paying 80% of your tuition if you decided to come and teach. And they started naming all these degrees if you already had what they wanted. They had over 300 applicants, and they only took 100. Well, I was one of those 100 that they accepted.
All right.
Right then, I said, okay,
I'm supposed to teach.
I'm supposed to teach. I did. I finished the program, passed the praxis on the first try, then decided, okay, I'm going to interview. Got picked up, started teaching at the rival school, Bethel High School, which I had a great mentor, and really enjoyed those first few years of education, where I think all of us were young at that point in time. All of us coming in were young. We just gelled and kept each other together. So that right there really made it all the better. So, but I'm still in the reserves this whole time.
What are some of the things that you do in the reserves?
Well,
because you're educating at one point, and then they just tell you when they want you to come, right? If we're at war, if something happens or occurs.
Yes. Matter of fact, when 9/11 was going on, I was sitting in my computer lab, because I'm a business teacher, and sitting in the computer lab, and like the internet just goes there. And I'm like, okay. And I go across the hall to the office, and we figure it out. Okay. Next thing you know, a year later, we still dealing with 9/11. And I checked my email, and it said you had orders. And my orders actually started that day. I didn't get a phone call or anything. So I just kindly walked to the office and said, I have orders and they started today, so I won't be back.
Mm.
And they were orders for a year.
Excuse you. Wait a minute. You just woke up one morning and was like, oh, today is my last day in this location.
This is it.
Mm.
This is it. That's how it works.
How much notice had they given you?
None.
She said
But you said you checked
she was putting butter on her biscuits. She missed it, didn't you?
I heard that. She said she checked her email, but she may be like me where the email could be there more than one day. So I didn't know how much time.
It was dated that day.
Okay. Okay.
I said,
now we on the same page.
yes. So,
Which count you send it
luckily, there were 2 retired teachers. One of my former business teachers from high school, they substituted. They broke it down. One did A day, one did B day, or green gold day, whatever. And that's how they got me through.
So you were deployed for what, about a year?
A year.
And then you were able to come right on back.
Came right on back.
Okay, all right. So tell us about, the whole desire to teach.
Okay.
Because you've stepped away a couple of times and you just keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
So what is it that's pulling you back into that whole, because, to me, education is a ministry.
Out, so we need to know why you keep running in.
Mm-hmm.
It's the relationships. I mean, I love the kids.
Okay.
Miss Adler love the kids. It's hard, but she love the kids.
Let me tell you that I've actually been in the community, and if I've gone anywhere and bumped into you, I'll take a picture and I'll post a picture, and people will say, Miss Sadler. Miss Sadler. And these are people, I won't tell their age, but they've been removed from you from quite some time, but they still remember you specifically and how you made them feel in school. So that speaks volume.
Wow.
You got generations.
Well, yeah.
That sounds a little shady. You know what I'm saying? She's dating you. She put a little age on
What I'm saying is she's not new to this. She's true to this. And people recognize that. And people remember how you made them feel. Like you talk about your educators that made a difference in your life. That even when you were not aware, people are still talking about you. Because it makes a difference. A lot of people tell you, I don't like school, or I don't like being there. But when you have people who decades later are still like, is that Miss
Wait a minute, you
Sadler?
say decades?
See, that's what I'm saying. Everything.
You said decades.
You know what I mean? Listen.
I'm only 25, so how?
Listen.
You can give a compliment without getting. You just want them backhand compliments. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it is.
Give her another biscuit.
Right, exactly. You know what I'm saying? You just keep eating. Let me talk for a minute.
Why you acting like I'm not old at this table? I don't know. But I thank God for every year He gave me, and in the wisdom that comes along with that. I don't want to take anything from you. That it's people that you touch, but I don't want to offend you either. So.
No, I'm good.
Exactly.
I'm good. I'm not easily offended. If I was, I wouldn't be in education.
Well, talk about that. Right. There's probably been some moments that challenged the military side of you. Did you?
Yeah.
Or brought in that aspect of the type of self-control and discipline that it takes to be in the military.
I will say that they both have probably helped me, mold me, to be a better person. Some things that I probably would not have said or should not, just in delivery and in how I approach certain situations. So I will say that they both have helped me in both situations because military can be quite interesting. And speaking of the military, I just received word. I received the email this morning.
Oh no!
I have 2 weeks from retirement.
All right.
Congratulations! Those are the kind of emails that you need to see in your life.
Yes.
And you better not get another one saying you're gonna be deployed.
Oh no!
That's what I was about to say. They're gonna deploy you.
No.
Wow.
But I submitted my retirement paperwork last year, January, and it took them a whole year to. And I was like, why are they holding on to me? But finally.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm excited for you.
They were working on, I ain't gonna tell you how many years, but yeah, my entire adult life I have spent in the military.
That's what you told us.
My entire adult life.
Well, we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And I would say not just the military service, but truthfully, some people may say education is a combat zone too, but truthfully, what is it that gets you up every morning and go into that building?
The children.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be. I mean, just knowing that you can't reach all of them, but like you said, if I can reach one, I did my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a young lady to this day who I met almost 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was
She
her
said
teacher.
that I did.
Yeah, I did. I taught her. It was 20 years ago, and she went on to college. She was a business major.
Okay.
She pledged DST,
I mean,
All
and
right.
to this day, she would tell anybody, she'll fight you for me.
All right.
That's my child. I can't introduce her to anyone else other than that's my daughter. Now, everybody
so
knows.
you started adopting the children.
Well, they adopt me, and I can't let them go. Can't disappoint them. You know,
So
once
they're yours, they're yours.
they're mine. They're mine, and they know it. I can't turn away from them.
And you don't have any biological children.
No.
But you got many, many kids.
I have many.
But that is awesome, because I know that people do career switchers programs all the time. And however you get into education, whether you started out as a major in undergrad and kind of moved on through the system and all, or you decide at some point you're going to switch, you really have to have a passion for it. It really has to, be in your heart. I always say education is truly hard work.
Right.
And when it's hard work, it's not hard work.
I like that.
Okay. And that's the piece. When people talk to me about being in education and working with kids and seeing the challenges have always been there of some sort, whether pre-COVID or post-COVID. But it's really about your mindset and what you want it to do. If it's not the hard work, then it is going to be hard work. And sometimes when things are hard for some of us, we tend to run. And it's okay. Okay, because sometimes
They need to run.
Yeah, and it's okay, because I often talk to people about some of the things they do and some of the challenges. Not all educators are educators, and that's a difference as well. Reverend Barber talks about those educators.
That's my pastor.
Yes. He talks about those educators, and the thing is, you have to be there, because you never know what that kid was going through or had to deal with just to get to the front door of that school, only to get there and have someone disrespect them, not care about them. Exactly.
Call them out, ostracize them, and, maybe not treat them any differently than they've treated anybody else, but that child specifically on that day, that's just too much.
We have to look at that. Not everybody is going to come from a home that's disciplined, where there's love and all. But we just have to make sure when they arrive at our door that we give them our best. And some days it's not easy, because we're not at our best every day.
Amen to
You
that.
understand?
Oh, I
Okay.
get it.
So I often talk to people about compartmentalizing their lives. And so how do you, as an educator, that morning you get up and it's like, you know what, I'm not feeling my best. I done caught a cold or something like that or whatever. I feel like I'm going to get sick. How do you handle all of that each day to show up?
You got to put your game face on. I mean, you have to be. You just go in there and say, somebody needs me. Somebody did it for me, so I need to do it for somebody else. I, like you said, talked about teachers that you've had in the past. I still think about them, and I run into a couple of them here and there.
Do you?
Yes, but I can't give up. Those who know me know that I have 2 nephews and a niece that I'm helping raise, and I can't let them not be or not see me at my best. It's hard, but the sacrifices are made. I mean, my parents sacrificed a lot for us, and until I've gotten grown and saw the things that they did, and it's like, oh, really did that for us. I still need to do those things for those children. Because like you said, some of them don't have it at home. And they come to school expecting, or not even expecting, looking for something to hold on to. And if I'm that person, if I can reach them, that's I'm happy.
So tell us what you did to receive this award. What did they say about you specifically? We're hearing it in your dedications about the kids, but what were some of the things that they said?
Well, one of my parents actually nominated me for this award.
Okay.
And that speaks volumes.
You can't get them to show up to the school sometimes, but now they're doing something extra.
It really does. It speaks volumes when you are able to make that connection, because we know sometimes we're able to make connections with the students, but the parents may be the challenge. So if you're able to make that connection with a parent, that is awesome. I always encourage parents to get involved with the schools, because when you have that relationship between home and school, oh my God, magic can happen.
Yep.
What did she say?
Well, I taught her son, and and he went on and graduated, and then I now have her daughter in my class this year. However, last year there were some challenges, and I ended up being her daughter's homebound teacher, and I think that kind of strengthened our relationship. But even before that, I don't know. She took a liking to me, I guess.
So you're not just in the classroom, but you're also teaching homebound.
Yes.
Oh my, yeah.
That's ministry. That's ministry.
Yeah.
I mean,
You for the people.
That
For
is
the people.
ministry.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I volunteered to be her homebound teacher
See, there you
at
go.
that too. I was like, okay, I know the parent, the family let me, and they were like, yes, we want you. And so they allowed me to be her homebound teacher, and it worked well. But she nominated me, and I was like, okay. And it really didn't dawn on me at first, like, okay, this is...
You don't do what you do for awards.
No. I was like, what is... Okay. And I said, okay, this is real. So she said, okay, you made it. You're in the finals. And I was like, oh... So maybe I need to let some people know that this is actually taking place. And
So they can vote for you.
Right.
Yes.
And I had no... Like you said, I
You
didn't
don't do what you do for the awards.
I didn't.
But how did it feel to receive that?
I was shocked, honored. I mean, I don't know. I just do things because my heart is in it. I don't do it to be, to receive any reward or anything of that nature. That's what I do. I mean,
That's why we invited you to the table.
well, thank you. Just here to serve. I mean,
That's what we wanted to hear, because I think a lot of people miss that part. If you're out there looking for the accolades, if you're waiting for people to thank you, if you're waiting for people to see all the wonderful things that you're doing, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and you're going to be waiting for a long, long time. But if you do it because that's what's in your heart to do, it's the right thing to do, it calls you to do it, you volunteering to do it, you standing up on top of the day of service on top of service on top of service on top of service, then you're going to get those people who are going to notice it, and it'll be different. It'll feel different because you weren't looking for it and you weren't applying for it. You were just doing your normal do.
I know. My coworkers even nominated me for Teacher of the Year at this school. So one of my coworkers, she says, Sal, I want to be like you. What did you do this year? You're doing everything. You have Teacher of the Year, Best Teacher of the 757. I was like, I'm looking at her like, huh? I didn't ask for any of this. This is all God. I was just thanking Him. I said, this is all because of Him. And that's all I can say is thank you. I mean, everybody knew. I mean, this is Him.
They can see her face.
Right, exactly.
She's laughing at. She's like, "Oh my, I can't believe." Well deserved.
Thank you.
Well deserved. Some people won't do one job, and you doing many jobs on top of jobs on top of jobs.
I mean,
the founders would be so proud because they were all into education, so
well,
that's a good thing. So.
I mean, even as a teacher, of course, the money isn't there. Everybody talks about how, you don't get paid. But I always found a way to, on top of the reserves, I always had another job. And they're like, you working
Tell them about it. See, I knew I was going to wait for you to throw it out there. Like, you are not afraid to work.
I'm not. Was not afraid to get my hands dirty.
Whatever that sacrifice required. So not only would you be doing the reserves and teaching and homebound, but you would have an additional job.
Yes, additional job.
And don't get me wrong, it is, I always say we cannot pay our teachers what they're truly worth. And that's just because of where I think society has been as it relates to education. But my mindset has certainly been to look at what we're able to pay our teachers, and I think we can certainly increase the pay. But obviously, people have been in education not necessarily because of the pay, but because of, like I said, it's the hard work.
The product.
Exactly. You really have to be in it, And so that's the I would say disappointing side of education now, listening to people just complain about money. And like I said, I wouldn't be a truthful person if I say we're paying you what you deserve, because we're not. Because education is one of those things, you don't stop at 9 to 5.
No.
Because you're constantly thinking about other ideas and things of that nature. How do you bring the world to your classroom, especially in areas like business? Okay, because business is not one of those things that 1 + 1 is 2. You're out here making connections with community partners and people of such. How do you bring them to your classroom? How do you get your kids out there to know about these particular jobs and the markets and stuff like that or whatever? So it's a lot that goes into that. Okay. And so I recognize that it's beyond that time period. If I tell you what, I think we should be paying teachers based on the commitment and the hours and things of that nature, it's far greater than what we're paying our teachers now, But that's just society, And we really, as a society, really have to change our thinking in terms of what we pay our teachers.
Jobs are valued.
Exactly.
And how they're valued.
Yeah, we really have to look at that. Like I said, because we may pay a doctor 6 figures, but guess what? That person, that surgeon would not be a doctor if it was not for that elementary school teacher who taught that kid how to add, subtract, read, and write. You understand what I'm saying?
Everybody is not a savant.
Exactly. So we have to we seriously have to recognize that, and it's a societal thing that we have to really look at where do we place our value on education and educators. But at the same time, here's the flip side to that. You turn teaching into a 6-figure salary. Are you getting people in the position just to teach, or is it the hard work? You follow me?
Absolutely.
And I truly want people that want to be there for that. I hear complaints all the time, about people who are teaching, and some things I would say are legitimate, but other things are just dissatisfaction. And my thing is, if you're not happy where you are, whether it's teaching, whether it's being a doctor, a lawyer, Indian chief, whatever it is, then you might really need to think about what you're doing. And it's okay. I believe in the art of bless and release. You understand what I'm saying?
Every week he tells people about bless and release.
Yes, bless and release.
He will bless you and release you quickly.
And it's okay. I'm not angry with you. You know what I'm saying? But maybe this is your time. And maybe the sun has set on your time in this moment. And it's okay. No hard feelings. Because if you're living for June, July, and August, it's okay. It's okay. Go and take the other few months as well and do something else, because our kids need people who are wanting and willing to show up for them every day, because that's what's going to make a difference. Those are the students who remember Miss Sadler. Those are the students who are thankful that there was a Miss Sadler in their lives, because you've touched not only them in that moment, you've touched their future. Because people not only just, it's a mindset. What do they say? I'm not going to remember what you did for me, but I'm going to remember how you made me feel. And if you made me feel like I was a burden to you in your class, if you made me feel like I was unwanted, I was unloved, guess what? That's going to impact me. Not only, Richard Mason, the 10-year-old Richard Mason, it's going to impact the 20-year-old Richard Mason, the 30-year-old Richard Mason, the 40-year-old Richard Mason. But if you made me feel loved, if you encouraged me, made me feel like I can do anything I put my mind to, guess what? you've impacted Richard Mason's future far beyond the 10-year-old Richard Mason.
And it's obvious this little girl is going to remember you and her mother and her brother forever. They invited you into their home. And that's a really big thing because most of us don't want to go in people's home either. So you volunteered to go into their home.
I did.
You didn't. People don't know what they're walking into when they walk into people's homes. But you were like, I care this much about the student that I know she cannot be here in school and still needs to be educated. And you were determined to leave no child behind, just like you don't leave people out there in the field. So that's something right there.
Well, thank you.
I want to talk about how it was for you being a woman even in the military. So in education, in general, there are a lot of women in education.
Right.
That's a general thing. But in the military, there are a lot more women in the military now. But that does not make it always the easiest. We've had other people on the show before that talked about some of the things, some of the challenges with being in the military. So.
Yes, there were some challenges, especially with the male. Well, not even just males. I'm saying my greatest challenge, actually, be honest with you, was with other black females that were in leadership. That was my greatest challenge. They had a great impact on my success. A lot of them were honestly jealous. I'm just going to put it to you like that, and they might be listening, but they were jealous because why are you here? You have a job, you're teaching, you're just okay, but I can do something else as well. They were just,
They questioned your service or your commitment to the service, or
be honest with you, with everybody that I came in with, all the other soldiers that came, all of them got out. I'm the only one who made it to the finish line, all the way to the finish line, beyond the finish.
Talk about it. You know that's why I asked you that question, because it's the people who do less who always have comments about the people who are doing the most. So I wanted to know, like,
yes, and it's funny because even now I run into you, in the streets, in the stores, and like we're the best of friends. No, I knew you didn't like me. I knew it was because of you I didn't get that promotion. I knew it was because of you. You tried, to get me put out, but it didn't work. God blocked it.
Right.
I mean, they tried several ways to get. I'm still here. I got out when I got ready to get out.
That's right.
I put in that retirement package. It wasn't because you wanted to put me out.
Nobody rushed you out.
Nope. It didn't work for you the way that you thought that I should have gone, or she can't pass the PT test, or she can't do this. You don't know what my situation is. Every time you try to come around it, and
I remember them PT tests. Ooh, Father God.
yeah, he blocked it. He was like, no, not this one. Try somebody else, or try another way. And it didn't work. I'm still here. Almost made it to 34 years. April 2nd would have been 34 years. Yes. Whereas like you were still in, it was fun for me. I enjoyed it.
There were some challenges, but for the most part, you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. And not only that, I also had mentees in the military. I had soldiers now that call me, I'm auntie, or I'm the big little sister. I mean, soldiers that are I really enjoyed what I did. I was a station that most of my time was at Fort Eustis. I was a movement control coordinator, which nothing happens till something moves. So if transportation based, we documented anything that had to move. If you were, whether it was a vehicle, was your household goods, or a unit moving, we were in charge of that. Whether it was rail, on the ship, in the plane, what have you, or by
anything
truck.
Moving,
I was in charge. And it even now, I mean, I had soldiers, they call me. I couldn't leave them at some point in time. I think that's what made me stay. Not wanting to leave them, knowing the leadership that was in place. Because we all know that all leadership is not good leadership.
We just had that conversation last week. Just because you call yourself a leader don't make you one.
So, and even then, some people didn't understand why my soldiers were
Why did they follow your orders?
They
like
prefer
that? Yeah.
that they would come to me and talk to me, or do what I asked them to do. I mean, go down to the car and get my bags and they were like, how do you get them to do those things? And they wouldn't even do it. I said, it's not what you say, it's how you say. I mean,
and it's the relationship that you built with
That's what I was about to
Yes.
say. It's about relationship, and it sounds like you have that relationship in general, and that spills over not only from the military, but also in education.
It's just who you are, and that's how you can tell that it's real and it's a genuine aspect. People want to be around you.
Do they? I guess so. I was invited to brunch.
Listen, everybody doesn't get to sit at the table. You know, we are big proponents on energy at this table. It doesn't mean that we don't want to talk about all different topics, but we don't invite everybody.
Everybody can't sit at your table.
Everybody can't put their feet up under your table.
Listen, as my grandmother said, you be kind, love thy neighbor, but that doesn't mean your neighbor need to put their feet under your table.
That's
you understand? So you got to be mindful about that. Everybody doesn't deserve a seat at the table.
And we're responsible. You know, even though we're having a good conversation every week, we're still responsible for the type of information that goes out there and how it triggers people, what the topics that go out there. And so, you know, there's tables that we may not have been invited to back in the day. So we created a table so that we can have those type of conversations that we want to have. Education is always going to be the conversation. And another question that always comes up every week that's always going to be the conversation, and it's the next question coming up, is how do you then maintain your mental health, your mental wellness in the midst of all of these things?
In the midst of everything. I love my family. And like I said, the last few years have been kind of challenging, not just
in general.
In general, just with a lot, things going on. Watching my parents get older.
That's a conversation right there. Yeah.
Watching
you can tell things are changing.
Things are changing, and they're vying for your company. Can you go with me to the doctor? I have a doctor's appointment on this day. Can you go? Yes, I'll take off from work. Not a problem. Can you come over here? Of course, I need this. My cell phone not working, and it's not just my parents, but I have other older parents, my other set of older parents that I have adopted, or they've adopted me. I've always liked older people. I don't know.
You like older people and younger people. I
like people.
You like people. You like soldier people and you like civilians.
I do. But I did take some time out for myself this summer. Okay. I had to reset. Found me a plane ticket and just did something I never did before. I flew to Panama by myself.
Your birthplace.
My birthplace.
Right.
I mean, I went to visit family, but I've never gone by myself. I either gone with my siblings or gone with my mother, mainly with my mother. So I went, spent 10 days all by myself with my family and just relaxed. I had a good time. My mom was like, "You going? I'm leaving you. I need a break from all y'all. I'm walking away." I had to go and reset.
Self-care is not selfish.
And I said, you know what? And I didn't feel bad about it. Didn't feel selfish. And I said, I'm going to do more of that.
Yes.
So my goal for this year is to find time for me, even if it is just going away. Or just I just need to get away.
Put a plan in there. And you are just now retiring. It's coming up. You have to go somewhere to celebrate that.
Everybody asks me, what are you going to do? And I'm just like, yeah, I said, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to do it in stealth mode. Nobody's going to know.
I bet you're going to do it during the summer when you ain't looking for these babies.
Don't be surprised.
You might pull out on the baby. Okay.
Everybody needs a break.
Yes, indeed.
There's a few 3 or 4 day weekends in there. There's spring break.
Yes.
I mean, I have some. I mean, I already have some other plans already in place for the year. But yeah, there's self care.
That's a benefit in education that a lot of people are aware of, but really don't understand and appreciate. Those little breaks that come in there are a blessing. They are a blessing, and you can get a lot done in those couple of days.
You can.
Mentally.
Yes.
Tapping out before you have to tap back in.
Right. And the self-care during that time is important. You know, working with, providing counseling services to young couples sometimes when they just had a baby, they're stressed out and stuff like that or whatever, helping them to understand you still have to find time for yourself, and take care of yourself. If the baby sleep, you sleep.
Right.
Exactly. Identify what's important, what's necessary, and make those things that are not, put them to the side for the moment, and that's what you have to do. Even as an educator, you really have to make time for yourself, and whatever that is going to be, do it and do it well, because when you come back, guess what? You're refreshed, you're rejuvenated, and you're good. You're not in a place where you're burnt out and all, because it can happen. And it's okay. And if you reach that place where you haven't been taking care of yourself, like I said, it's okay to step back. I've seen some folks who have decided they stepped out of education, went off and did a couple of other things. Guess what? Now they're back, and they're back in education. And it's okay, because that break is what a person may need at that time.
And that's why I love being in the reserves this whole time. And I'll tell people that's what probably has helped me along the way, because I taught, then I get deployed for 9 months or a year. Then I go back to teaching, and next thing you know, I'm gone again. And I not necessarily went far. My last deployment was to Kuwait, but
that's far.
That was far. But the other two, I went to California one time, and I went to New Jersey another time. Yeah. But those breaks right there was what I needed to reset and just do something different. And then when I came back, it was like, okay, I could do this again. I could do it again.
So now that you're retiring,
from reserves,
from the reserves, right? Are you planning on putting something else there, or is that going to be your break, or are you going to be retiring from education too? Or
I'm close. I'm nearing. I'm on the other side. I'm nearing education, nearing retiring from education. I am there. But no, I'm not going to put anything in the place of the military. Okay. I'm buying back my time now. Okay.
Yeah. I'm happy to hear that.
And you need that. And one of the things, you as you talk about having that space with the military, always sit back and talk about best practices with education and stuff like that and all, because these are some of the conversations we have, and I've had them for years. But if the funding was there, ideally, as you look at a model for educators, ideally it would be a great thing to put teachers on a 5 to 6 year cycle, because after that 5th year, that's sometimes when you start to get that I'm a little exhausted type of thing or whatever. So every 5th or 6th year, I think it's good to put teachers on a rotation to be able to sit and kind of maybe walk, travel around the district, or even do a teacher exchange program where they get to go and watch other school divisions and see what their best practices may be or not so best practices may be, and then come back. Because guess what? You've had a year off, a year away. Refresh yourself. Yeah. Now, unfortunately, we don't have that kind of money in education, okay? But we have to start thinking about it. People, challenge your legislators, okay? Put more money into education. Vote for folks who are going to put money in education, okay? But those types of things really make a big difference. Whereas, like you said, you had the military, even though, I'm not saying everybody run out and join the reserve. No. But even though you may have been deployed to Kuwait, it gave you that downtime to refresh, look at some things, see things from a different perspective, and even probably bring some of those experiences back into the classroom that you had while you were on deployment.
Absolutely. I always share.
I'm very transparent. Miss you though.
They did. I was very transparent. I'm always transparent with my students. The course that I teach actually is economics and personal finance. So I tell them, you need this class. Right. I mean, you need all of them, but this one right here is real life. And when we share some of the information, when I share, they were like, oh, and then a lot of them, once they start working, they come back. They really appreciate it. I should have paid more attention, or I listened to you. I did get a bank account, or I know how to do certain things. I'm starting to invest or whatever. So that right there is a reward within itself. Just hearing them saying that they've actually remembered something that I told them and they can actually use it. So
And maybe share it with other people, which is the best thing about education. When it's good, you just can't keep it to yourself.
okay.
You got to share it with somebody else.
Yes. But I'm very transparent with them. I tell them about my struggles. I'm like, look, I'm teaching this class, but I can tell you some things what not to do as well. We didn't always have this.
Right, exactly.
This was not always an option. So it's only been in existence in, I think, the state for about 10 years now. So, yeah. So,
And it's needed.
It's very needed.
It's definitely needed. That whole personal finance and all. The ranger, I always tell folks, my wife would say, what do you mean there's no money in the bank? I still have checks. So it's like,
right.
we have to fix that mindset. But something you said earlier also, before we, kind of finish up at the table, you talked about a sense of family. And that makes a big difference when you're talking education and who you are. I don't care where you go, good, bad, or indifferent, whether it's a dysfunctional family or not. Education really is about family and how do you build those relationships and how do you work those relationships and all or whatever. So I thank you for putting that out there, because people need to know that this is truly what education is all about. It's building those relationships and having that mindset, because you're selling people on a better way of life when it comes to dealing with education. And who better to listen from than family members, to sit down and talk to you about this lifestyle and how do you want to live. We can, give you all of the tools. But it's up to you whether you choose to build a mansion or a shack. But whatever you build, that's what you got to live in. And that's your house.
In education, I love it. I think it's hope. That's what we're giving people. When you give people education, hope, you're giving them hope, because you're not going to be held necessarily to where you came from or what happened prior to. It's the fact that when we know better, we can do better, or we have the opportunity to do so. And so education is that hope piece, that hope that I can do something more. Like you said, I can be something more. If I decide to do more, I can be more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. As we start to wrap up, we always like to look at little nuggets, little giftings and things to people.
Yes.
If you had to share some advice or some words of encouragement to someone who was considering going into education, whether it was a high school student going to major in education, or someone doing a career switcher program to get into education, what would you say to them? What kind of advice would you give to them as someone who's been in the game for a while, who's been this teacher of the year, who's this 757 teacher of the year? What would you say?
Oh, what would I say? It has to come from the heart. If your heart's not in it, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work. You have to like what you do. And every day is not going to be easy, but you have to look deep down inside and see what you really want out of it. Like I said, I love people. I didn't always love people. I found that later on in life, but no. I enjoy seeing other people happy or seeing the smiles on their faces. So if I can make a difference, no matter how small, then my job is done.
That is awesome.
And my last question for you is, what would your advice be on someone? So yes, that's what you need for education, but what if you want to be the best? What would make you the best?
You have to try. You can't just keep at it. If you're not successful, or things didn't turn out the way that you want to do, doesn't mean that you give up. Keep going. Try again. What I didn't share was I did at one time. I was an assistant principal. That didn't work out for me, but I feel that I'll better serve my students in the classroom because I have a better relationship as a teacher versus
it's more hands-on for you.
Yes, than as an administrator.
You find greater joy in that.
I do. I do. So I'm not bitter. At first I was like, why? I was a little confused, but I'm happy where I'm at. And I see these next 5-6 years.
Keep adding them up.
It's gonna be joy.
You're almost there.
I'm almost there.
And you've seen it already now with your military.
Yep.
And so now this is the culmination of all the education.
Everything that
Yes.
I've done. I said, look at it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for all that you do in terms of the military piece, as well as the education and educator piece as well. It's neither of which is an easy job. And thank you to all of our educators and military personnel out there. There's always a place for you at the table.
Well, thank you.
There's
I appreciate
always a
being
place for you.
invited to the table.
Absolutely.
I was a little hesitant, but I'm glad I was invited and I accepted the invitation to the
I'm
table.
glad that you did too. We always want to dine with you, and we definitely want people to understand the importance of people who are in their community. We don't want to overlook the people that are just right next door to you that are doing some amazing things. So congratulations on what you've done and what you're going to continue to do, because even though you retire, adult's work is never done. So I already know you're going to still be out there in the community getting it.
Yes. Most
All
definitely.
right. Well, I'm Dr. Richard Mason.
I'm Dr. Tamara Williams.
And thank you for joining us right here in WHOV Smooth 88.1.
The essence of HU.
Keep you forward.
Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think they are things. I think they get on the walls. They get in your wallpaper. They get in your rugs, in your upholstery, in your clothes, and finally into you.
Thank you for joining us at the table.
Tune in next Sunday at 1 p.m. for more delicious topical recipes for life on the Sunday Brunch.
On Smooth 88.1 WHOV.